Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com. This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 31, January 17, 2012. Ham Nation at CES 2012. Hello, everybody. It's Bob Heil, K9EID, but wait a minute. I'm with Gordo, magic. But, well, really, it's not video magic. It's the real time. Thanks to American Airlines. We're live in Costa Mesa. Hi, Gordo.
Hi, Bob, and hi, listeners. Good to be here.
We're having a lot of fun. We spent the day doing all kinds of crazy stuff together, and Julian is here, and we'll hear from Julian in a little while because we got things happening there. He's going to be watching some of the chat room things for us, and greetings to all the chat room. And we have from Mississippi, George. How you doing, George?
Hi, Bob. Hi, Gordo. I'm surprised Southern California can stand both of y'all in the same location.
Yeah, we're doing okay. We haven't been arrested. My parole officer let me off for the week. So what can I tell you, George? You should be with us. What the heck?
I wish I could. But I think, well, it's 56 here right now. I think maybe it's a little warmer here than it is there.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. 52 outside. 45 outside.
Oh, it's 45 here. It's crazy. Well, wow. It's okay. It's still good to be in Southern California, and we've had a lot of fun here. That's for sure. One of the things that's happened this week is that we're getting things lined up for a future show with John Amado, who is the producer of Tim Allen's new show called Last Man Standing. And if you haven't seen it, you must see it because ham radio is figured into that show. It's a part of the show that will happen tonight. You'll see him sitting at his ICOM, and later shows are going to write it into the script. So we've had a lot of fun helping to see some of that put together. But we also have a little thing we want to play for you. You guys just got back from CES, and you came back all in one piece, right?
We did. It was a great show, Bob.
I'm sorry I had to miss it, but I had to be in other places, so I wasn't there. But I hear that you and Leo got together and did some things, so maybe we should we got to get ready for this, though. CES.
Yep, we're ready.
Yeah, well, CES was a big deal for 3D, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
So Leo in 3D, we're ready, Leo.
Yeah. Okay, let's see it.
For our CES broadcast. Oh, my goodness, Gordo. You've been to the Eaton booth, I can tell.
We have.
Hey, Gordon West, how are you? It's so great to see you. Where's your ham badge? You usually have your call sign right on there and everything.
No, I know. I'm in disguise tonight.
Well, I know you're WA6.
Close enough. WB6.
B6 NOA.
Right.
And Gordo, of course, the host of Ham Nation with Bob Heil, which is every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on Twit. This Tuesday, though, we've been at CES. Bob didn't come this year.
Nope, he's busy with another convention in Anaheim.
There's just nonstop. But I'm sure you both will be at NAB this year.
Absolutely.
That's the National Association of Broadcasters show. We'll be here as well, so we'll come back. We'll talk more about ham stuff. But today, you've got a bunch of radios. This is cool.
Well, that was my mission. Bob said he wanted to find for Ham Nation every single radio device there at CES.
Radio's not dead.
Radio is definitely not dead. And you know, Leo, so many folks are into scanning, yet scanning has become so complicated because of the myriad of radio systems. We now have 2 scanner manufacturers here. They are arch rivals, yet both of the managers had started with Radio Shack years ago. Uniden with the Home Patrol for scanning, and the GRE for scanning, and these will scan everything that you could believe that's out there.
So it's police frequencies, fire frequencies, emergency frequencies of all kinds, school buses, anything you want, taxi cabs.
That's right. And no longer do you need to know the frequencies, in that these will self-program.
Oh, that's neat.
Based on just popping in your zip code, or one of the units can also do a tie-in to GPS and says, "Oh, I know where I am."
Wow.
And it'll load in all the channels.
What's the price range for these kinds of
About $500.
Ooh, that's pricey. These aren't cheap.
It is, but you get capabilities of getting them updated on the internet, and they cover everything. There is no service that this would not pick up, other than maybe an encrypted police radio service.
So people who scan are obviously pretty serious. If they'd spend $500 for a scanner, that's amazing. Look, I'm seeing the U.S. government, the Department of Fish and Game, Department of Parks and Recreation. It's scanning through them right now. Ambulances, Clark County, Southern Nevada Area Communications, Emergency Communications. It's scanning through them right now. The Nevada Shared Radio System. I love that.
That's it.
Uniden, and the other company is GRECOM?
GRE.
GRECOM.
That's correct.
Okay, good. All right. You know, you've got so much stuff. We'll just shuffle them over here as we go.
Okay. Sounds great. Into Leo's little bag.
Into my bag.
You know, in an emergency, the AM radio remains supreme. And you have so many AM radio listeners that we thought we would bring you the latest of what's happening with AM radio. This is called the Sea Crane Solar Observer, and it is a portable AM radio. And look at this. You can actually recharge it in the sunlight.
Solar. But not just solar. If the clouds come out, you've also got a crank.
That's
so
right.
You can crank it up. It has a flashlight on this side. It has weather radio. It has regular AM and FM radio.
Man.
You know how I know? I have one of these.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I'm a Sea Crane fan. I go through their catalog, and it's like a candy store for me. So I order everything they've got. That's great. How much is that?
Probably about $100.
Okay. Sea Crane or ccradio.com if you want to find out more about any of the Sea Crane stuff. That's great. Look at that.
All right, and here's some more cranking for you. This is from Eton. Now, this receiver for AM and FM is crank operated. Also has capabilities of charging a cell phone in an emergency.
Oh, I like that.
Has weather alert, and there, take a few cranks of the Eton radio.
We know them pretty well because Dick DiBartolo, the Gizwiz, he's a big fan of Eton cranking radio. Same thing, flashlight. These really are for emergency you know, when the power goes out or there's an earthquake, as you get in our area. These things are lifesavers. Everybody should have at least one of these in the garage, even if you don't use it day in, day out. It's great to have. What else you got?
And for the mobile monitoring enthusiast, brand new, not yet available. Don't know the price yet, probably about $500. This is similar to the earlier scanner we just saw, but this one is mobile. And look at this, the head magnetically comes off.
So that would go in your car. It's a head end for your car stereo?
It would if the cars were made out of metal, but you know.
Well, where do you put it? On your fridge?
Possibly the hook and loop may work. But this is from GRE Common.
Gordo, you don't take any guff from me. I do notice it has an Ethernet jack, so it obviously uses the internet as well.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's kind of, GRE's making some interesting stuff. That's
they
cool.
do.
Yeah.
Now, for security, there are 5 channels called MERS, Multi-Use Radio Service, on 150 megs. And there is a provider of a driveway alert, as well as a two-way radio, as well as part of the alarm system that work on those MERS channels. And we aren't talking about 100-foot range or 1,000 feet. We're talking 2 to 5 miles range.
Wow.
Because they can run 2 watts output on multi-use radio service frequencies. This comes from Dakota Alert here at the show.
This looks so strange. This looks like a standard handy talkie, but this, it looks like almost you'd want to say, Hey, Central, Rick, call. I mean, what, you talking to that? What is that?
No, that's ultrasonic. That's picking up the heat sensor of a vehicle coming in the driveway.
That's a driveway alert.
That is correct.
Got it. And that could be a long driveway.
Oh, sure. And that's what Dakota is doing, is coming up with the MERS channels for these long-range devices.
Very cool. So this would go beep, beep, beep. Somebody just came down your cattle guard and is ready to wrestle your cattle.
That's right. Yeah, and they have them all different purposes. And here is their base unit. So if you want the world's longest intercom, 2 to 5 miles away. 2 to 5
miles. And what is it? Family radio service? What service is it?
It's using? Called MERS, and not many people.
It's just its own thing.
Yeah, multi-use radio service, 5 channels, 150 megahertz, no license required. External antenna, okay.
How much power?
2 watts, and 2 watts at 150 megs. Yeah,
that's a lot. Wow, I never heard of MERS. You should have that in your license prep exams. Actually, FCC doesn't ask, so you don't need to know, right?
There we go. We'll do that.
I wouldn't be a ham without this guy, by the way.
Yes,
you got to get Gordo's training materials. It makes it easy to get the technician license, the general license, and for me, next is extra, and I've got your extra materials. That one I'm taking a little longer to study on.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough exam.
From Eton, in stereo, another receiver. This one
beautiful.
Also does shortwave.
Oh, neat.
So if your many Saturday, Sunday broadcasts end up on shortwave, that has the capabilities of tuning it in.
You could listen to Radio Moscow, the BBC. You can listen all over the world. This is the most beautiful shortwave radio I've ever seen. Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh, yeah.
And I see it has a mic input. You wouldn't broadcast it with this stuff.
No, that's strictly receive.
Yeah. That's called the G2 Reporter from Eton. No solar or crank on this. That's unusual for Eton.
No, you got to plug batteries into that one.
All right. What's next?
It's the Gozo, and this is from your friend Bob Crane, and this has the most amazing audio for a relatively small speaker. But
Bob's always focused on high-quality audio.
He does.
And good receivers. You know, you buy a cheap transistor, people often say, why should I spend so much money on a radio?
That's
because a good AM radio really can pick up the signals and then give you excellent sound. Let's turn it up. Oh, it sounds good. And a nice tuning dial that makes
analog.
it easy. The analog tuning dial makes it easy to find the stations you want. That's neat. Boy, that sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds really good. I like that. So if you listen to the Tech Guy show, you need one of these radios.
That's it.
Only listen on Gozos. That's great.
And if you're a long way away from tuning in Leo's show, this one has twin antennas, so it gives you capabilities of hearing sky waves, ground waves in any plane, and this is their analog tuning, so you won't have to worry about accidentally popping off channel if the conditions should change.
So that's really interesting, because normally we think of an AM radio as having just a coil in the radio, and I can remember turning the radio, trying to aim it.
Yep.
So it has that, but it also has an antenna like this. Would that be used for FM only, or
strictly FM?
Strictly FM.
The coils are on the inside, and boy, this thing is sensitive. When we had the big blackout in San Diego, Leo, we could still hear you on Saturday and Sunday because your AM radio station down there.
And this is how you tune the coils inside, twin coils. And you don't have to move the radio anymore.
Nope.
You just turn the knob and it'll tune those coils for you. That's very neat. That's somebody who loves radio would get a radio like this, I'll tell you.
That's it. Well, we're almost coming to the end. For those of you with your own personal music player, this is from Eton, works on Bluetooth, so you can go ahead and kick the sounds out of your little personal audio player up to about 30 feet away.
And never run out of power because it's got a solar panel on top of it. So if you're out there barbecuing or you're camping, this could be your sound system out in the woods. Scare the bears away. This is the Ruckus. I like this. The Ruckus Solar from Eton.
That's
neat. I like that idea. And you can carry it like that. You can be an ecological boombox.
That is absolutely correct. Here's a short wave set smaller yet from C. Crane. You know how Bob loves to do shortwave in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And that's just one edition that he has with just great audio.
That's how I got into radio, was CQing or DXing shortwave stations.
Really?
I just loved doing that when I was a kid and tuning all around the world, and it was so much fun. And it excites you about radio. And, of course, now I'm a ham because of it as well, because I'd like to transmit as well as receive.
Oh,
there you go. That's
neat.
Great. Nice little radio.
And if you can't find it in the middle of the night, of course, C. Crane.
I got one too. I got one too.
Dueling lights.
These are bright. You could really blind somebody with these. These would be great for. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. And it has a little stand on the top, so you can aim it if you're doing work under the car. You're changing a tire, on the highway. This is so bright you can easily see what's going on. This is really nice. This is the CC spot. It also has an emergency blinker mode, so if you're stuck on the highway and you're looking for help, you can go into the blinker mode as well. That's cool. These are LEDs.
Did it actually go down?
It's stuck. Yeah, everybody in the chat room saying nothing's happening. So.
All right, we'll go fix it.
Okay, we're back on. What do you think? Was that fun, Bob?
That was really good. C. Crane is an incredible company, and Bob continues to bring fascinating radios. And Leo is exactly right. Shortwave is so alive. And if you don't have a shortwave radio, actually what you need to do is buy yourself a general coverage amateur radio transceiver that has general coverage on the receiver. Then you have it all. You'll get your license, and you can transmit on 40 meters or 75 meters or all these different wavelengths, and then you can go listen to the shortwave frequencies. But C. Crane has just the receivers, and he really does a great job. So nice coverage, as we would expect from you, Gordo. It's really, really good. So thanks for bringing all that to Ham Nation. That was fun. That was fun. And we're going to have a little bit more. We got a couple of questions. That the MERS frequencies, they're up about where?
About 152 megahertz, 5 channels. Currently, they are conventional wideband, but they may go to narrowband. We're going to find out more about that shortly. But around 152, and if anybody wants to know them exactly, send me an email, wb6noa@arrl.net. and I'll get those 5 channels for you.
Great. That's a relatively new service, and it's going to, I think, have a lot of future, because there's many things. As you saw, that driveway sensor was on MERS, and a lot of things like that we'll be able to have, and they'll be very reliable, much more reliable than what we've had in the past for some of those.
Oh, yeah, and the MERS channels have changed. Not the channels, but the use. It used to be the McDonald's and the Jack in the Box were all on MERS, so you could be a half a mile away and order a Big Mac on the run. But they've pretty much gone to digital now just because of that. So the channels were open, and the FCC said no license, and welcome to MERS. All right, here they are. 151.820, 151.88, 151.940, 154.57, and 154.600.
Good deal. All right. That's great. Well, while you were at CES, you took Julian with you, and Julian had a whole bunch of cameras and microphones, and he recorded some great video. Julian, you want to say anything about some of that? Tell us how you did it.
Places.
Yeah, let's trade places.
Here's the Jewel Man.
Yeah, so much of the time we have many people watching Ham Nation that are, a lot of them in the video business. Tell them how you did it, what kind of cameras are used, and all that kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. What are you doing?
Well, I kind of roughed it this time, kind of run and gun type stuff. I used a Canon 5D Mark II, which is capable of high definition video. I had an IDC follow focus. I had an LED light panels light, and I had a couple of microphones as well to go up there, some wireless and some wired mics, and we had a great time. It was crazy busy up there every day. So What you see is what you get today.
Did you have a good time?
It was an awesome time.
You and
Very,
Hannah
very
were there?
Absolutely, yes.
Following Gordon?
Following this man around, yes. And I tell you, he may be old, but he runs around like crazy.
Well, hey, yeah, we can keep up.
Absolutely. Looking forward to NAB with you, Bob.
Well, let's take a look at some of your video that you did for Ham Nation. We're very, very honored to have you do all of this. So,
this is actually part. Oh yeah, we will need these.
Going NAB.
This is part
CES.
1. We'll have part 2 with a good blooper reel afterwards next week.
Oh, I can't wait. That's gonna be good. But we have our glasses on because it's all 3D at CES anymore. So let's see what we got going live with a little bit of delay from videotape from CES for Ham Nation.
Excellent. That was great.
Hey Gordo, let's go to 438.100 simplex so that if we get separated, we can find each other, okay?
Okay, can we do it digital?
Oh, that's a great idea. Perfect. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this thing.
Okay. And now live and direct from the Consumer Electronics Show 2012, Picture Perfect. For the ham radio emergency responder at the Consumer Electronics Show, Lucent has you covered. Likely you have a big radio room and you want to protect it with some good security. I'm a real fan of Dakota Alert because their security system works on MERS, multi-use radio system. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing today?
Just fine. Now, can you tell us, you're about the only company that makes alarms that does MERS, huh?
We are the only one that specializes in MERS as an alert service for alarms, yes.
And your alarms go a lot further than the others, right?
Yes, they do. They will go up to several miles in range. Nobody else can do that.
Not at all, 7 miles. And let's take a look at this little handheld. And the handheld can be used as part of the alarm as a monitor?
Yeah, it can be a monitor, and it can also be a transceiver where you can talk between the two radios.
On MERS, multi-use radio service with Dakota Alert. And it's Wayne Wilson, WR5S, at the GRE Alinco booth. Wayne, you've been in ham radio and scanners for a pretty long time.
Well, since 1965.
Wow.
That was my first novice ticket when I was in high school.
That is terrific. Well, Wayne, what have we got new in the GRE booth here at CES 12?
Well, two very new things. The first is we have new firmware for our PSR 800, our top-of-the-line scanner. And then we also have, we'll show you in a minute, a new mobile version of this scanner also.
All right.
Okay, so what I want to show you is our new feature is called Set Location in the firmware. And when you select it, you can select your location by city, county, or now by zip code. So if you select by zip code, you simply go in, enter the zip code, and hit select, and it will just store everything for you in a matter of a few minutes. So the new mobile unit is the PSR 900, and it has a magnetic detachable front panel. So it's very easy to mount in your car, and it just uses a RJ45 type cable to connect to the main unit. It's identical in feature set to the PSR 800. Has a 2 gig memory card built in with the entire US and Canada database on it. So all you need to know is your county or your zip code or where you are and what services you want to monitor. It doesn't mean that you have to be a scanner expert anymore. Now anybody can buy and use a scanner.
And finally, 222 and 900 megahertz. Where did you ever get that idea, Wayne?
Well, no one makes a commercial 900 megahertz radio now. So we thought that if we came out with a 902 radio and then combined it with another fast-growing band, 220, we might have another really popular radio. And if you have already our G7 radio, the one here on the right, that's a 3-band radio plus this one. You end up with all 5 most important, you don't have 6 meters, but you have all 5 really important VHF, UHF bands in 2 radios at one time.
Wow, only a Linko could do that. So Wayne, when will this rig be available?
Oh, it's available now. It's just shipped to dealers. So our first few sales and comments, very positive comments on the internet are already out there.
A digital microscope from Dynolite. Now, Joseph, these have to be like, what, $1,000 or so?
Actually, they start at about $100 a piece.
Really? Wow. And I bet they're great for those ham radio operators that work on small integrated circuits, huh?
They're great for anything you would use a regular microscope for. They magnify up to about 200 times for most models. We have some going up to 500 times. They go to about 5 megapixel resolution.
And are they hard to interface with a laptop?
Very simple to use. It's a USB connection, plugs right into your computer, comes with a software on a CD. Software, as you see here, displays a live image on the screen, and from that we can take pictures, take videos, record time-lapse video. We can do annotations and drawings over the picture, and some of them can even do measurements on the picture.
Wow, that is terrific. So George, next time you need a hand on the soldering, here you go. We'll take a close-in look.
Great. Thank you very much.
Lots of smart home controllers. Let's hope they're nice and quiet on the HF frequencies. Well, this is pretty neat. It keeps electronics high and dry if they should get wet. Now, tell me, is that a coating that goes on there, Danny?
Exactly, you got it. Liquipel is a nano coating that's applied in a specialized piece of machinery that actually treats the inside and external of the device to keep it from getting water damaged.
Now, is this something that a person can purchase and then do themselves, or how do they get their radio or their cell phone coated?
Sure, actually, we do it in a specialized piece of machinery. Our engineers have designed it so that we just push a simple button and the process begins, and it actually sucks our coating into the device as well as externally.
Wow. And as we see more and more marine electronics and ham radio electronics and cell phones being used in a wet environment, we're going to find that neat coatings like this from water-safe electronics will keep them dry. Wilson Electronics, a leader in personal communications. How long, Blake, has Wilson been around?
Wilson's been around for about 40 years in various capacities, making everything from satellite dishes, back when that was in vogue. They made CB antennas when CBs were popular. Now we make cell phone boosters.
And what do you have today to show us, the latest at CES 2012?
This is our DB Pro. It's kind of our premier in-home amplifier. It's a 62, 65 dB amplifier.
Wow.
It's strong enough to cover up to about 3,000 square foot in a home. It uses a bidirectional amplifier. It has an outside antenna, this amplifier, and then an inside antenna, so it basically works like a repeater system.
Oh, that's terrific. So if you have poor cell phone coverage, this will probably do the trick.
It sure will. And we also make devices for automobiles, for single users, for multiple users, all the way on up to industrial applications, large warehouses, even spaces as big as the one we're in today.
Terrific. Wilson Electronics.
Davis, the name and weather instrumentation. And Michael, I always see you at the Dayton Hamvention, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. One of my favorites.
Now, what's the fascination of radio operators with all your Davis wireless gear?
Well, you know, first off, they love the weather, and this is the best out there. Very competitive, very accurate, updates very often, 2.5 seconds, wireless up to 1,000 feet.
Wow, now what range, 1,000 feet, what frequency do you get for that range?
Sure, we're using a spread spectrum radio, so we're between 902 and 928 megahertz.
So no more problems at 446?
Not at all, not at all. No issues there at all for you.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for being here at the Consumer Electronics Show. Any words of wisdom about the weather?
Love it. Love the weather.
Midland, big in personal electronics, including the very popular FRS, GMRS. And Bob, what do we have here?
Yeah, we have a GXT 1000. This is our most popular unit here. This thing has all the whistles and bells to it, such as security codes, we call them, and that is just not a carrier squelch, so you don't hear everybody else. You can just hear your own family. So if you're at a shopping center or at an amusement park, something like that, you can kind of have a private conversation.
And this is both an FRS radio as well as a GMRS, but if they don't have the GMRS license, what channels can they use legally?
They can use channels 7 through 14 legally, and actually this, because of the FCC rule, will automatically lower you to 0.5 watt, which is the rule for that.
Excellent. Only Midland can come up with that. As a ham operator on UHF, I always like to check the range calculations of these little FRS radios. Little guys, 18 miles. Little bigger guy, 26 miles. Same size guy, no more power, maybe a different antenna, 30 miles. Oh, here we go, 36 miles. That's a pretty hefty unit, so I imagine that probably does have a little bit more power output. And we've got some more 36 milers here. But I would maybe take it with a grain of salt as to your maximum range that may vary with the terrain. Go green with Wagon Tech and solar panels. Wow, this is totally portable, huh,
yes.
Ian?
It's very portable, and you can just lay it on the dashboard or anywhere outside flat under the sun, and you can charge it directly with the USB drives. Through the USBs, you can actually charge all your devices.
That is terrific. Now, Ian, what's new with solar panels?
Well, solar panels are getting bigger, and you get more wattage out of it. Like this one we have here is actually a 120 watt.
Wow.
With 260 watts, and you can actually fold them up, buckle them up, and take them. But once you unfold, all you have to do is clip on, and you're good to go.
And it looks like Wagon Tech has come up with a lot of new solar products, huh?
Yes, we just recently came out with a whole line of them, and we have something smaller for battery chargers, cell phone chargers, to car battery chargers, and also other products that we are carrying on solar.
And here's my favorite. Now, Ian, it looks like you got the whole thing here, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah, pretty much. So here we have the solar cube, which combines the inverter, battery, and solar panels. So all you have to do is get it out of the case and open it up, and you're good to go just to charge them.
Wow. And how many watts is it when it's fully deployed?
It has 80 watts panel on top and a 1500 watt inverter underneath as well.
Wow. And you have a battery inside here as well?
Yes, there's a 55 amp hour battery inside that you can charge them with the solar panels or AC or DC.
Wow. Hams, we got your field day special. Eton. I love Eton radios. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, how are you?
I'm just fine. Jennifer, what's the relationship between Eton and Grundig?
Yes, Eton's been partners with Grundig for over 3 decades now. So we've been working really closely together to deliver the best radios and the best shortwave products, world band products really, so that you're able to listen to anything from around the world.
And speaking of world band, Jennifer, tell us about this great little shortwave receiver.
Yes, this is our new G2 reporter. What's wonderful about it is now you have the dual speakers built into the unit. It's really intended for an international person who's traveling the world. It's small, it's portable, it's light, and it also has the ability to have multi-language features. So whether you want to have the display in English, Spanish, French, we really want to cater it to an international client. I'm going to just turn it on right here, and you can get a chance to see the really clear display window. It allows you to listen to, again, AM, FM, and world band radio, so you can tune into anything from around the world. And it's a great favorite with our radio enthusiasts.
Oh, and speaking of AM, Leo Laporte would be very happy to see all of these great AM radios. Now, these can be powered just by a few cranks, huh? Your AM?
Absolutely. So as I move on, there's the FRX series, which is brand new this year. The leader of the pack, I would say, is the FRX3. You can see that it has our well-known hand turbine technology, so you can crank the unit up for power. We also have a great solar panel on top. You can also charge it via AC adapter using the micro USB or the USB there, and then you can also use traditional AAA batteries.
Wow. So, Leo, when we listen to your AM broadcast down at the beach, we won't miss a thing with an Eton radio. We all know the name Cobra when it comes to personal communications. Ramon, how many CB radios does Cobra make?
We make about 18 SKUs, anywhere from a portable radio to a top-of-the-line single sideband radio, which is a 148 GTL.
Wow. Now, the one we're looking at here, beyond just being a CB radio, it has a lot of safety features, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It incorporates NOAA weather information plus weather alert. One of the neat parts about this is that a lot of professional drivers spend time in their vehicle sleeping where they're done driving. And in the event of an inclement weather, the NOAA weather alert feature will turn the radio on automatically, even if it's in the off position, to alert drivers of inclement weather.
Wow, does that take a special antenna for the weather side, or do they use the CB antenna?
They use the CB antenna. It's a center-loaded antenna that picks up the weather anywhere in the country, and 60 miles into Canada, and 60 miles in the southern borders.
Wow, that is terrific. Now tell me about this cool display.
Well, we have in 2011 we decided to change the look of the traditional way the radio looks. We incorporated a very modern display where the driver can customize the color in 4 colors. They can have a choice from green, blue, red, or amber.
And can you do that choice right now on camera?
Absolutely. It's very easy to use. The center button is your menu button, and then you scroll down to color, display color. Very intuitive. You press the menu button, and it just asks you to turn the knob to select the color.
Only Cobra would come up with this great feature in CB radios. And normally we meet Cobra at the Miami Marine Boat Show, but here we are at Las Vegas. Hi, how are you doing, Bill?
Good, thanks for stopping by. It's a big show for us here today.
And a handheld that floats, huh?
Yeah, it's floating. We got it clearly indicated on the side there. It's nice and bright and orange, so when it goes in, you're able to figure out where it is and retrieve it as well.
That is terrific. Now, Cobra is big on handheld maritime mobile transceivers. How many products do you have in the marine radio line?
We have 5 handheld radios, everything from kind of the entry level up to the top of the line here.
Now, you also have a combination handheld, don't you?
Yeah, we do. It's a combination VHF and GMRS. It has a pretty simple band button that just switches you from VHF to the weather band and over to GMRS.
That is terrific. Cobra Marine, as well as personal communications, as well as you saw at CB Radio. The Consumer Electronics Show is not complete without Julian picking out his dream car and trying to figure out where he's going to mount the bug catcher HF antenna. We're here with Eric at Ford Motor Company, and of course the big question is, on the Ford electric vehicles, is there 12 volts so us radio guys can add our two-way radios?
Yeah, there's actually still a 12-volt battery. In fact, the 12-volt battery is still out into the engine compartment. There's actually multiple batteries in the vehicle. You have the lithium-ion battery, which is really the drive battery for the powertrain, but you still have a 12-volt battery that actually runs all the accessories. So, your radio that you have in the vehicle, that's still off the 12-volt. One of the great things about the way that the setup is on this vehicle, on the Focus Electric from Ford here, is that also as the 12-volt battery starts to deplete, or as it starts to go down, the lithium-ion battery can actually take over and actually start charging this battery.
Wow, that's terrific. Now, is there an AM/FM radio in the vehicle?
Absolutely. In fact, not only just AM/FM, but still having with CD. In fact, it has a navigation system as standard. So it's one of the, really there's no options on this vehicle other than having the upgrade from a cloth seat to a leather seat. But yeah, full content, has all the sync, has all the My Ford Touch, has all the My Ford Mobile. So yes, fully contented, high technology vehicle.
Well, that's good news that we have an AM radio. That means probably low noise coming out of the electric motor. Eric, for radio operators, the big concern is, does the vehicle emit noise, or what happens when someone transmits?
Yeah, I mean, the testing regimen that we deploy at Ford Motor Company actually includes both kind of scenarios where, to the FCC and the bands and the radio bands that are actually there, we test the vehicle to those bands, making sure that really two things. One, that we don't interfere in those bands, while at the same time that those bands don't interfere with the function of the vehicle. So the testing that we do at Ford actually does test all of those scenarios.
Wow, so it looks like we're good to go with two-way radio in a Ford. You'll never get lost with Delorme, and now something new, huh, Jim?
Yes, this is the first of its kind affordable two-way text communicator. It'll give you your location anywhere in the world. It's an Iridium-based system. Works with Android, or when paired with our GPS, it'll give you communication anywhere in the globe.
Now, is it real expensive per month?
It is not. It starts at $9 and will go up to $50, and it really depends on how you want to use it. But minimum price is $9 a month.
Wow. So with Delorme, you're never lost. So where are you going to hold that handheld when you're mobile? Johan with Pro Clip USA has the answer.
Absolutely. What we're doing is we make very custom mounts for each independent vehicle. So every car has a different dashboard. We use the seams and crevices. We create mounts that snap into location, and then we have the custom holders for the two-way radios with charging built into it. You put the two together, you have the custom solution for your car and your device. You slide in your two-way radio and it charges instantly. It's tested, durable tested, weather tested, temperature tested, everything, and it stays perfectly on your dashboard.
C. Crane Radios and the legend Bob Crane. Hi, Bob. Look at all these great radio products, huh?
Well, this is a great fireside chat with Gordon, so thank you very much for coming here and doing this.
Well, you're more than welcome. You know, Leo Laporte is a big fan of AM radio. In fact, he's on 170 shows. Tell us a little bit about the new little Take to the Beach Gozo.
Okay, well, the Gozo, well, AM radio is still a fantastic media, and it's got to be one of the most popular things in the world today, but everybody's afraid to admit it sometimes. So the Gozo has tremendous audio, and we call it the big little radio.
That's for sure.
It sounds just like the old bread box radios of the 50s, and I guess I can turn it on. Hopefully you didn't recognize that song.
And the dial lights up. Now, when we had the big earthquake in San Diego, AM radio was king for getting emergency news out, and we tuned it in on this little guy.
That's right. Well, the EP is a new radio. It has a lighted dial. And it makes it easy for a person who doesn't want directions and just wants a high-performance radio. It's right up there with the best radios ever made, and it's very easy to use, and it's kind of fun.
And for you ham operators, it is VFO. It is not PLL, but a giant capacitor we're swinging in there, right?
That's correct.
Now, for the Wi-Fi industry, when we go to Quartzsite in another week, we'll be taking along your Wi-Fi stick.
That's right. The Wi-Fi stick will get your Wi-Fi signal about a mile away.
Wow.
A line of sight, and so it's a tremendous for weak signal conditions or camping or doing anything like that. Also, if you're on Windows 7, you can broadcast a mile. as you can actually become an access point. So you can do work on the internet, receive a weak signal, and broadcast all at the same time.
And everybody will be sucking signals off of my Sea Crane antenna.
If you give them the password.
Oh, there you go. Well, Bob, thank you so much for all your dedication and your entire team here at the CES 2012 show, The Bob Crane.
Thank you very much for coming over, Gordon.
And stand by for more CES 2012.
What an incredible amount of work that was for you guys. Wow, I'm very impressed because I've been to so many CESs. This is one of the first that I've missed in years, and that place is so big. It takes you a day just to walk around one of the halls, and there's 4 or 5 of them. You did a great job, Julian. You did a marvelous job of the video and the editing. So that's great. And we'll try to get some more in next week, too. So I hope everybody enjoyed that because a lot of us that didn't get to go, there you are. You were there thanks to Gordo and Julian. Hey, Gordo, some questions from the chat room.
GRE is Alinco. That is Wayne Wilson, not Wayne Green. Wayne is still around.
Yeah.
Wayne Green is Alinco, 900 megahertz. That's a ham radio. Same Wilson as CB Wilson. And, yep, you need a license for GMRS, but not for MURS.
That's right. Super duper. Hey, George, did you see Gordo found you a microscope? Did you see that, George?
I did, and yeah, I probably need one of those if I'm going to work on anything much smaller than I have already.
Exactly.
That
exactly.
was
great.
Really some neat stuff there, Gordo. Great segment there that you and Julian did.
I thought it was wonderful. And, you know, one of the things everybody asked me, everybody asked me, what's all this stuff that Gordo's got in the background? I found another one that he had hidden. Look at this. Man, oh, man. These all come from Edmund Scientific. You remember that, don't you, George, when we were growing up?
Oh, yeah, one of my favorite catalogs.
Yeah, they're still around, all this good stuff. But that's why I had to come out here to find out what you got in the background. So there we are. We're in the background. Well, we have a word from Leo coming. Leo's got some words about Audible. And let's have Leo come here on Ham Nation for a minute or two and talk about Audible, please.
Hey, we'll get back to Ham Nation in just a moment. Guys, I don't want to steal your thunder, but we've got an advertisement. Audible.com. I know you're already, if you're listening to Ham Nation, I know you're already kind of used to getting information in through your ear canals, and this is what Audible is so great. 100,000 books, radio shows, performances available on Audible.com for you to listen to, and you can play them on any iPhone, iPod, Zune, Kindle, if it's got audio capability, your GPS, of course your computers as well. Audible is just fantastic. A huge choice of fiction, nonfiction, bestsellers, science fiction, all at audible.com. Now, do we have a special URL for the Ham Nation show? Actually, I need to know, because I'm going to give you a special deal. I'm going to give you a book free. This is the best way to kind of get into Audible, is just start listening. I know some of you might have some, qualms about the idea of listening to a book. Well, Audible is fantastic. What is the URL? Audible.com/hamnation. If you go to Audible, is that right? Nope, that's wrong. It's audiblepodcast.com/hamnation. Is that right? Yes, it is. It's a lot of typing, but it's worth it. You're going to get a free book. audiblepodcast.com/hamnation. Now, whenever I do these Audible ads, I love to pick a book that I've been reading and recommend it. Did you see the movie The Descendants nominated for an Academy Award? It's people thought, and I thought, George Clooney was fantastic. What you might not have known is it's based on a novel. There are a lot of books on here that were movies, that became movies later. You could try that. Cowie Hart Hemmings' The Descendants. Beautiful book, beautiful movie, highly recommended. Are you a Stephen King fan? All of his novels are on there, including his latest, 11/22/63. Get that for free. All you got to do is go to audiblepodcast.com/hamnation. You'll be signing up for the gold account. That's a book a month. But your first month is free. Your first book is free. Cancel at any time. It's yours to keep forever. Give it a try. If you've not yet started listening to audiobooks on audible.com, if you've got a commute, if you go to the gym, if you do housework, if you garden, anytime you can't hold a book but you'd like to be reading a book, Audible is great. I get a couple hours a day reading that I wouldn't get otherwise. audiblepodcast.com/hamnation. Give it a try today. Now, back to our Elmers on Ham Nation, guys.
Oh, that's great. Well, be sure everybody go out and dial into that. It's a great thing if you have never paid any attention to the books. They're really great to listen to them, especially somebody like me. I don't like to read that much, but I love it when it comes through my headphones or my speakers. George, you got your soldering iron there. You plug it in, and right before we come to you, let's go find out what's been going on. I've been away for a long time, and I know you guys have too. So let's catch up on the news with Robert Sudak, and then we're going to go fire up that soldering iron. 2 minutes, that ought to be enough to warm it up. What do you think? Okay, so here we go. Let's go.
Good evening, everybody. These are the Ham Nation headlines for Tuesday, January 17th, 2012. The United States Supreme Court heard arguments January 10th concerning the FCC. Should it still have a role in policing the nation's indecency regulations, and do they violate guarantees of free speech and due process? The decision could affect amateur radio. The broadcast networks have successfully argued in lower courts that in a world where they exist side by side with cable channels, the internet, and satellite-provided programming, the FCC singles them out. They claim that is unconstitutional. On the other side of this issue is the Obama administration, which is defending the FCC's regulatory powers. It told the court that in a new media world, the FCC is still required to continue federal oversight of the public airwaves. The current regulations come from a 1978 Supreme Court decision in FCC versus Pacifica Foundation. There, the court upheld the commission's decision that an afternoon radio broadcast of comedian George Carlin's 1973 monologue, the so-called 7 words that could not be said on television, violated regulations. Now, this is important for ham radio and other personal radio services because traditionally, enforcement of indecency violations has long been predicated on the standards used to guide commercial broadcasters. But if the Supreme Court rules that the FCC cannot control indecent language in broadcasting, it could signal that the government has no power on this issue and other services, including what's said on ham bands. The FCC granted Philip J. Williams, KA1GMN, of Euless, Texas, a special temporary authority to conduct spread spectrum experiments on the 160 through 2 meter bands. The February 1st through July 31st authorization limits Williams to a maximum 2.5 kilohertz bandwidth at 100 watts effective radiated power. He'll use the experimental station call sign WF9XJD. This week's microphone comes to us from the Chris Clemenson collection. It's an Altec 633A, known as the Salt Shaker because of its shape. This is one of the first general-purpose professional dynamic mics that I used in my young broadcasting career. And the mic goes all the way back to the late 1930s when it was originally manufactured under the Western Electric name. By the way, that circa 1937 ad shows the price at $42.50, $665.36 in 2011 dollars. There's a fascinating story on Wikipedia describing Western Electric's spin-off of their professional audio division into Altec, the all-technical service company, is probably the first court-ordered divestiture of a Bell System company, and the torturous journey of the Altec-named successor companies through the remainder of the 20th century. But that's a story for another time and another place. And this just in, the time allotted for this segment has expired. So, I guess for this week, That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source of amateur radio news presented to you each week without interruption for more than 34 years at www.arnewsline.org. I'm Robert Sudak, WB6FDF 7-3, and we'll see you next time on Ham Nation.
That was great.
That is great.
Good stuff. Thanks to you and Bill Pasternak and all there. Super. George, you have the soldering iron warmed up?
It's still warming up, but while it is, why don't we give away that book that we promised several weeks back, this Morse Code Breaking the Barrier? We had a contest, if you remember. Gordo asked to talk about, I don't know, what was your question, Gordo? It's been so long I don't remember.
Well, neither do I, so come up with something.
Okay. It was about the Gemini meteor shower and where does it originate. And we had a winner here. It's Eric Anderson, KF7OLR. And he said that asteroid 3200, I believe it's Phaeton, is the apparent source. They're not positive about that because of the amount of rock that's in the meteor shower there, but that's the best guess. And the way we chose this week, there were so many entries that I couldn't tear them all up into little shreds of paper and draw one, so I went to random.org and had it generate a number, and it came up with 22, so I picked 22nd entry. Eric, thanks for playing along, and we'll get this book out to you this week. We'll give away something else in just a minute. I think the soldering iron's warm now. So let's see what I've been up to this past week. This week's project on smoke and solder uses a Jamico part number 2119734, which is a CBIC 20-second message recorder. This is a neat little device that only costs $15, and it can record and play back a 20-second message. The module has a record button, an LED to indicate that it's recording, and a playback button. The unit takes 5 volts to 6 volts input. There's a jack for that, as well as a connector over here for an external speaker, and the microphone is included on the unit. We'll power this unit with 6 volts worth of AA cells to our perf board, and we'll connect the positive and negative terminals to the board, and we'll also connect speaker terminals. Recording is simply a matter of holding down the record button and talking into the unit. To play back our message, we press the other button. Holding down the record button and talking into the unit. This is a neat little inexpensive device, and I thought it might be good as a basis to build a voice IDer or a voice keyer for field day or contesting. You'd need a push-to-talk function to key the transmitter, of course, and we could do that with a 555 timer chip, but that's going to require setting the length of the timer to the length of the message playback, which could be tedious. Now, notice that every time the unit played back, there was a DC voltage present on the speaker terminals. Holding down the record button and talking into the unit. Now, we should be able to take advantage of this and drive a relay. Of course, we can't hook a relay straight to it. That won't work out. But we can use a transistor as a switch or a relay driver. Let's draw a schematic. First, we'll need an NPN transistor, and we'll choose a 2N2222, which is a very popular general-purpose transistor. We'll connect the emitter to ground, and on the base, we'll connect a 4.7 k-ohm resistor that goes to one of the speaker leads. We'll attach one end of our relay coil to the collector, and the other one will go to our positive voltage. Of course, we'll need to put a diode across the coil for transient suppression. Now, when there's a positive voltage applied to the base of the transistor, that will cause it to conduct, thereby drawing current through the coil of the relay, which engages the contacts and keys our rig through the push-to-talk circuit. Here's our speaker lead, along with the 4.7 k-ohm resistor, going to the base of our transistor. The emitter of the transistor is tied to ground, and from the collector we've got a jumper wire that goes over to one side of the coil of the relay, The other side of the relay coil goes to our positive voltage, and we have two leads that we've connected across the contacts of the relay so that we can measure the DC resistance with our own meter and see if the circuit works. Holding down the record button and talking into the unit. Now we've got the beginnings of a nice little voice IDer or a voice keyer circuit. Now, I did not talk about the audio interfacing today. Perhaps we'll cover that in a future episode.
Oh my goodness, we've lost his audio.
He blew it up.
He blew it up. I know somebody that does that once in a while.
That's me, George. That's me.
CQ.
There you are. Now you've got it.
Got him going.
All right, do your rap.
That was great.
Yeah, that was a nice little project there, and I'll probably do something else with that in the future. I think you could have a lot of fun with it. And we want to give away another book. This one comes from Jerry Buston, KR7KZ. It's Constructing HF Wire Antennas. Jerry sent me some of these books, and I've been reading this, and it's a really great introduction and a lot of good information in there he got when he was with the military on constructing wire antennas. So let's give away one of those next week. What do you say? And Andy had a question in the chat room there. He said, why put the diode across the coil of the relay? So send in the answer to that question to Ham Nation Contest. That's Ham Nation Contest, singular, not plural with an S, at gmail.com, and we'll pick from the winning entries.
Great question. That's terrific. And it will be surprising why it's there. So there. Okay. Well, that was, again, a wonderful thing from you, George. I really enjoy all the projects you do, and we'll see you again here next week on Ham Nation. One thing in closing, the chat room, somebody had mentioned about a license. It's very easy to get a ham radio license today, and you really should do it. Look at all the fun we have, and it doesn't make any difference what your needs are. You can do emergency work, you can just sit around and talk to your buddies, or you can see how many foreign countries, how far you can talk. There are so many things. We couldn't be here long enough tonight to talk about all of them, right? So get out there and get it. You've got Gordo's website. Check out some of the books he's doing, because those books are invaluable. Well, thanks very much for everything, Julian. That was terrific. We're going to go tune up some high-frequency stuff here on 40 meters. I'm sure that Mike and Bill will have something going, so 7204 maybe.
Roger that.
And who knows, maybe 75 meters will be open, so we'll listen around. Thanks very much, everybody. We really appreciate you watching Ham Nation. Pass the word, and next week, you're going to be at Quartzside next week.
Yep, it'll be cold.
It's going to be cold. And George and I we're going to talk about a lot of things. So we're going to get into some of the stuff about how to tune some things and what all this ham radio stuff is about. And he's got a couple of reviews on some new ICOM stuff
And
that he had.
part 2 at Julia.
Part 2 of CES. And isn't that the part where they have the 833 tubes, water cooled? Let me tell you, if you haven't seen this, you want to know about this audio amp that uses a pair of 833 transmitting tubes. It's too much from APL. Everybody, it's ready to go. We're going to go get on 40 meters.
We're ready.
Going? Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Good night to you, and we'll see you next right here on the Twit Network on Ham Nation.